I am Khalifa Saleh, the Secretary General of PDOIS DOI in the Gambia. I could have been addressing you as a presidential candidate, but I will not, because Gambia is in a process of transition and dialogue is necessary among her citizenry on the way forward. This is why I have been addressing you. This is the 7th time I'm addressing you, and I will devote this address to the young people of the land. There is no generation gap between me and the young people. This is why you invite me to the early childhood centers, to the lower basic schools, upper basic schools, senior secondary schools, tertiary institutions, college, the university, in order to exchange ideas with you. You would recall that Nyakoi Nursery School, which we established, served as a foundation for many young people in this country. An early childhood center where we enabled little children to know themselves, to know their country, to even move further to understand more about the continent. We've helped them to understand their bodies inside, outside, to understand how to protect their health, how to handle traffic. We help them to have leadership qualities, to know that they are part of a nation, to know that they should prepare themselves to contribute to the development of that nation at that age. Who doubts then that we can run a national program to facilitate the training of young people at that early age? We have worked very hard. When I first came to the Gambia in 1977, up to 1978, I decided to establish a branch of the African Youth Movement for Liberation and Unity in the Gambia. The objective was to turn it into a study circle to enable more people to understand economics, politics, society at large, philosophy, to be able to contribute to the development of the country. That study circle was also able to provide adult literacy to many adults. We call it night schools, who, when we found ourselves incarcerated at Mile 2, found themselves serving us as prison officers. And they revealed to us that they learned the little English they knew, the capacity to read and write through our night schools. We worked very hard to prepare to build the party by contributing 1/3 of our income to that. I decided to work in social welfare precisely to be able to work with the poorest of the poor, to serve the needy. The disabled who were excluded, we now call them people living with challenges, physical challenges. I helped them to build their institutions, their organizations, in order to demand their rights, gave them confidence. I've traveled the length and breadth of the country to see the poverty of the land and work to minimize it, but more concretely for its eradication by taking up the political agenda. I've taught at the School of Nursing, School of Public Health, gave lectures in the colleges, attend many symposia, even run a program over Radio Gambia called The Future Leaders, in order to help the young people to take charge of their destiny. So in short, it is important for you to understand that I have been with you throughout my life. What made that possible? Some have said that I should narrate my own profile, but my duty is not to sell myself as a slave. It is to share with you, to understand what made me to become the person I am today, to be of service to you. At the age of maybe 12, my teacher at primary 6, Mr. Abdullah Njai, Serekunda School, wrote to my father and indicated that this young child needs attention. If given support, this person could be of service to this country. I went to St. Augustine's High School and I happened to attend a symposium addressed by Stokely Michael. And the eloquence of the gentleman, the subjects he raised, made me to devote my life that day to serving Gambia and Africa. At that time, my level of consciousness had not reached the level of the world as a whole. I had to go through a process to really transcend these boundaries and see myself as servant of humanity at large. But that day, I made a commitment, and I remember at St. Augustine's, there was a problem. I stood up for justice, and the principal of the school eventually came to our class to call me. The students felt that maybe they wanted to sanction me, so they all came out. But the principal asked them to go back. I also asked them to go back, and they did. And we spoke and resolved the problem. That is what maturity is all about. That is what leadership is all about. It goes with discipline, a sense of purpose, a sense of direction. I left this country with that ambition to prepare myself to be of service to my country, to my people. That is why when I went to Rabon Gap High School, at Form 4, I was taken to grade 11. And with this sense of direction and purpose, I had to excel, appreciated by my fellow students, the peers, as well as the administration. I was the only African, only person of color in that school. But because of my conduct and my capacity to serve, I had made a room for others to come and study in that school. But one thing that shaped my life is a statement I read, that the unexamined life is not worth living. I started to examine every aspect of life, including what I consume. I saw smoke as something that is destructive, anything that is intoxicant, destructive to my mind. So I started to reject anything that was destructive to my mind or body. I looked at wealth, I demystified it. I looked at the watches and the shoes and clothes people wear and felt that, well, what they wore was from animals, from the vegetation, and therefore my skin was superior to all those things. So consequently, what I consumed was very limited, and I appreciated whatever I had and saw nothing that I would envy that another person had. I looked at wealth in general, that if you have 1,000 houses, you can only live in one house. Many clothes you can only wear one. Many shoes you can only wear a pair. No matter whether you kill a bull a day, you can only consume something very small. If you consume more than what you should consume, of course you will become sick. So in that sense, I began to see that the human being needs limited material things. Ultimately, you will die and leave it behind. So this enabled me to develop values. So that when I left Robert Gap and went to School of the Ozarks, which is a college established for students who could pursue excellence, but by virtue of the poverty of their parents, they are unable to do so, they were provided with all the facilities needed there to be able to work and study. There, my aspiration was to learn as quickly as possible to leave that place and come back to serve Gambia, to serve Africa. Yes, my professors were very generous. They saw my critical mind, for example, anthropology classes. They will show me the Native Americans, how they performed witchcraft, how they lived in these huts, and they presented it as if this is their culture, their tradition. But to me, their culture was thwarted by centuries of exploitation and oppression, and I will tell my professors this, that no, these people with development will not be living as they are living. They accepted my critical mind, and that helped me to continue to think of the type of relevant knowledge that will be of service to my country. When I finished school in 3 years, college in 3 years, with A's being given to me in sociology classes and psychology classes, I just felt that the professors were very good human beings who appreciated critical mind. And when I examined what I learned after finishing my college, I discovered that still there was a vacuum. This is why I devoted myself to reading the classics in economics, in politics, in sociology, in philosophy, in order to equip myself. This is when we also established the African Youth Movement for Liberation and Unity, a study circle of many African scholars whose major intention was to learn as much as possible so that the relevant knowledge will be utilized for the building of the African continent. People that I could remember being part of that movement is Dr. Karanta Kale, who has passed away. Unfortunately, he could have been of great service to the Gambia. And Professor Kari Kari, who introduced me to Samsar when I was coming back to the Gambia. I left the School of the Ozarks to go to Howard University, enrolled in a joint master's PhD program so that I could finish as quickly as possible to come back to the Gambia to serve the country. During that period, I came to the Gambia in 1977 and met Samsar with the intention of building the same study circle so that even if I were to go back, that study circle will continue to train new Gambians to know exactly how we can deliver the type of service that will eradicate the poverty of our people. We established a study circle, and ultimately I decided to work in social welfare. I did not see the need anymore to go and pursue academic work because the knowledge I had enabled me to be a knowledge producer. That is why in the books that I've written, it helps young people to understand how Africa evolved to be what it is today. In my treatise for the Federation of African Republics, in my book, it deals with self-determination and independence of the Gambia. We enable the Gambian people to understand their own history. That is the purpose of a scholar, is to produce knowledge that will enable the people to understand who they are, where they came from, and how to chart a new way forward to become the architects of their own destiny. That is my role now. And it is important for you young people to understand that 293,503 children are in our lower basic schools. 91,176 children in our upper basic schools. 51,225 children in our senior secondary schools. In just 12 years, over 400,000 children will be in the street looking for work. Where is the work? You need knowledge to be able to build the type of economy that will be able to provide you with work. There is absolutely no doubt that telling young people, go to the land without fertilizers, seeds, not and farming implements, how will they farm? We are saying you need to transform the wealth that comes from our minerals. Yes, minerals are available in this country, but minerals are available and in many parts of the country. Oil is available. Many, many resources are available, which we need to harness, put into a sovereign national wealth to be able to ensure that we provide the type of economy that will provide the cooperatives, that will give the farms, family farms, farming implements, seeds, fertilizer to work and sell it at the cooperative and yearly reduce or eradicate poverty. The same thing with those who are gardeners. The same thing those who have orchards. These cooperatives will assist them, buy the mangoes from them, transform it into juice, and in that way enhance their earning capacity. We can ensure that our ocean, that we have these cooperatives that will assist those who are fisher folks to be able to get fishing vessels, work on it, process it, the sardines and the tuna, ultimately create jobs in the country. The same thing with our groundnuts. It's over 667 million spent in terms of importing groundnut oil. We can produce all this. That money will be kept in the economy to expand the economic base. So these are all ways and means of ensuring that jobs are created, the farming community develops, the urban community also develops. The private sector, look at what is actually happening. If you say the 1.6 billion is actually traded in foreign currency, that private sector is not investing in a productive base. You can assist it, and we will tell you what the programs are so that they'll be able to invest in the productive base and therefore generate employment as well as give income to the state. So in short, what we are saying is the productive base needs to be developed, but you need people who have knowledge to be able to do that so that you become the architects of your own destiny. The country is in your hands. You are the sovereign Gambian. Since 1970, Gambia became a republic. Sovereignty resides in you. You are the one who select leaders. Do so on the basis of informed choice. Know that your vote is what constitutes your power as a citizen. And you, as the Gambian youth, you constitute the majority in this country, male and female. If you do not have a job, you will not be able to maintain families. And your life will be perilous. So we are saying that it is important that today you make a decision that you own the Gambia. And Gambia does not have ethno-linguistic budget, no gender budget, no religious budget. It is a national budget. The schools, roads, etc. are all national institutions. So you need Gambians with minds that see the Gambia and not factions, so that that global mind will create a global economy that will ensure your liberty, dignity, and prosperity. You are to create that leadership by being discerning. Examine all those who come before you. Bring us together to engage in debate before you, so that you know the truth. Scholars are known in the midst of scholars. So it is important to bring all those people who claim to have answers to your problem together and listen to them, challenge them, so that you know the truth. Because ultimately it's the truth that will set you free. Thank you very much.